always, welcome to the new setup for the Photographers Underground. I know that I've been doing a few interviews in the past, kind of got away from it, but I wanted to take care of some things, really get everything rolling, and then we're hopping back in. So welcome to the Photographers Underground. Go ahead and introduce everybody. This is Jason. You guys don't mind if I use your full names?
Sure.
Yeah, Jason Hampton and James Stevens. I'm Jonathan Corbett. And if you guys don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell what everyone's about.
So I'm Jason Hampton. I'm just all around creative. I just got into real estate photography about 6-7 months ago. Mm-hmm. But before that, several years in commercial photography and just got into cinematography and filmmaking.
All right, James?
James Stevens. I've been a full-time photographer for a little over a year now. I've been shooting for just under a decade, sort of primarily focusing in automotive industry, in cars, but really shooting anything that comes my way.
Awesome. And you guys have any handles or anything you guys want people to follow you on?
Instagram, the J Hampton. I use that mostly.
Okay.
My Instagram is JSP_auto, and my YouTube is JSP Media.
Oh, I didn't even know you had. I mean, I'm subscribed to you, but are you uploading to that regularly and everything?
No.
No.
Just occasionally as I do videography here and there, but it's sort of sparse, and I upload there once I finish a project. But it's been like less than once a month that I've been putting some up. Yeah. You
definitely need to do more of that FPV stuff. The last video you did with the FPV car was sweet.
I do need to utilize that more for sure.
And if you guys want to follow me, I am not even sure what my Instagram handles are because I'm not on there much, but I will be getting on there because we're absolutely launching full send, a lot of marketing here. So we're excited about that. But you can follow, let's see, the best one would probably be the Triad Real Estate Media, which is actually the company that I run for real estate. I'm a real estate photographer. I've been a photographer for over 10 years. It's been a really fun ride. Ended up getting specifically interested in real estate photography almost immediately, and it's been a fun ride the whole time. Yeah, we've got now a team we're excited about. Both James and Jason are part of my team now. They'll both probably go their own separate ways and follow their own dreams, but I like to have photographers on who want to do real estate for a while or just get started in the industry as a whole, and I teach them as much as I can and help them accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. Like, you're planning to move to Atlanta whenever you can, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
And then you want to move to Colorado?
Think so. Yeah, somewhere out west, Colorado or Utah. I need to do a lot of intensive research and see on where people are moving and where houses are.
Weren't you talking about some houses this morning?
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard you guys. I know I was focused on editing a clip, but you guys are laughing about something. I didn't remember what you guys were laughing about. Like the very first thing this morning, like you guys walked in.
We were laughing about a car I saw pulling in because I saw a really like tuned up, souped up version of his car in the exact same color and everything, and I had like a split moment of like, wait, did you just transform your car? But that was all.
Yeah, we're all car guys here too. We all love cars. But anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the topics here. Let's see here. We had a few things that we wanted to talk about. One of the things we're going to talk about, just so you guys can know what's coming up, we've got the Sony drone Airpeak that just came out. Perhaps Sony's trying to compete with DJI.
Yeah.
Just got to make sure I don't say DJI like I do sometimes. I want to talk a little bit more about Sony and other brands with Jason here because you just sold a bunch of Sony stuff. Then we're going to go around talk about real estate quite a bit. I know the Photographers Underground here, we're going to invite on some guests. We're going to have a variety of people. But we definitely want to make sure that we're covering real estate a lot because that's what we do here. I mean, especially me. I also just launched a course recently called Real Estate Photography Masterclass, which we're really excited about that. We got a pretty successful launch. We have over 20 students, which may not sound like a lot to you, but that's in a little bit over 2 weeks, so we're averaging a little bit more than one student a day. And we've already got over 100 videos. We're going to keep going, producing more content every day until we get to 200 videos, and then we're going to keep going after that. But we might switch pace a little bit, maybe try to do some more advanced topics and things, but less often posted. But right now, we're just covering everything you can possibly imagine: legal, infrastructure, back-end software programs, and then, of course, we're covering all things business, shooting and editing and photo, video, Matterport, 3D, anything you guys can imagine, and teaching you guys how you can make as much money as you want, depending on how much you want to scale and stuff. But anyway, enough of that commercial. Let's go ahead and talk about the Sony Airpeak 9000. What are the specs on this?
All right, so the Airpeak S1 is kind of dedicated towards like the Alpha series and the FX3 cameras, which is like really interesting, but like a very strong competition to like the Inspire, I would say, in terms of like build and specs.
It's huge.
It's massive. And then like the base drone is like 9,000, and the entire like gimbal setup with the drone is like 12,000.
So, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really come with a lot, and it's supposed to be against the Inspire 2. The Inspire 2, I'm just going to look up the Inspire 2 real quick, and I don't have an Inspire 2. I did have an Inspire 2 for a while, but it did not cost me $9,000 at the time.
So this it's like a not half FPV, but it's like you use your own camera and lenses, and then it's fast.
Yeah.
It advertises 0 to 50 in 3.5 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems like a mix of, but I mean, you still fly it standard, not like FPV, but that does not sound like a DJI drone.
By the way, James is our resident FPV specialist here. You should see him on a drone. Of course, if you ask him if he's a good FPV player, he's like, no.
Oh, that's in comparison to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
that's like every creative says they're not good at what they do.
Right now, I've seen this guy fly some gaps that are like 3 inches wide. So, anyway, so it does not come with a camera, but it's designed to work with Sony cameras.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fast, and it costs $9,000.
Yep.
And I'm not sure how much the Inspire 2. I'm going to look this up real quick.
Yeah, that seems like that's going to be more towards like big cinema projects.
Yeah.
Big budgets.
So you're trying to bring this up on Amazon here.
Because, not only do you have to be willing to buy the $9,000 drone, but you have to be willing to strap your X-priced camera to it.
Yeah.
So you can get the base Inspire 2, no remote or controller or charger. So we're just talking about the structure itself for $2,500. But if you want the DJI Inspire 2 X5S Advanced Kit, which it becomes with cameras, extra batteries, everything else, you can get that for $7,000. And that's the X5S, which is, a pretty nice camera. So I'm not sure if Sony's trying to, compete with Inspire on price, which is funny because Sony usually releases stuff that's really well priced.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about them attacking Canon, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's interesting. I would like to see DJI have a really good competitor in the drone market because there's some third-party drones now, but they're not that great.
Yeah, that just sort of seemed like an upgraded Inspire. Like It had a ton of sensors, and it's really fast, and it could handle winds up to like 50 miles an hour and stuff like that. But other than that, it seems to be down the same line.
All right. Why did you sell all your stuff in Sony? Tell us the camera you had, and you decided to sell it all out.
Yeah, I shot with the A7R3 for almost like 4 years, and that was a trooper. I used it for a lot of like commercial photography work, a little bit of video, and then when I wanted to get into cinematography, it was just like a huge transition for me, like especially like working here and working with Canon. I wasn't doing photography as much besides real estate, so it was kind of like prime positioning to kind of like let go of that gear.
Right.
I'm working off paying off debt too, so that's like a really important thing before I started really investing into like a brand new endeavor.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you looking? What's your brand new endeavor that you want to look? What kind of content you look? Cameras you're looking for?
So ideally, I would love the FX6, but they did come out with the FX3, which is like a smaller version, similar sensor, and the Sony Venice color science, which is like really amazing because they really upgraded their color science since like the A7 III and the A7S2. So that's kind of like an interesting like game changer.
And I've been falling in love with color grading again because we have a bunch of students right now who are like, I want to be better in color. So I'm like, oh, I've got to dive back into all this.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed. Adobe Premiere has actually made some strides with color grading. But yeah, I'm definitely interested more in color grading, color science. What are some of the other things that you really like about the Sony, though? Like, what are you looking for in that camera versus like your old camera?
I mean, honestly, so I've been shooting on the Canon C200 for about 3 years now, since I've been like the production director at my church. And that was really something that kind of gave me a good eye-opening experience of what I was really looking for. I prefer shooting on a heavier type of build just because when you're shooting on a mirrorless camera, you really do have to kind of rig it up depending on your style of filmmaking. So for me, I like handheld, like that very realistic movement versus like hand jitter, which you'll get on the DSLR. So the more weight you put on a DSLR camera, the less jitter you have.
Right.
But you're still essentially working with a DSLR at the end of the day. So, built-in ND filters, dealing with like shutter angles, those things kind of really pay. It pays you back in dividends. It just makes the workflow a whole lot easier versus like getting everything, trying to do everything in post rather than getting it done as you're shooting like shot per shot.
Cool. All right. Well, you had to mention one time that you were interested in switching a little bit more to Canon, but the Canon C200 just didn't do it for you.
Actually, I love the C200. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is you're left with very few options of running it on a gimbal.
Right.
So I think the Movi Fly was one of the ones that you could use on the C200, which was like beyond my budget. Right.
Yeah. The Movi Fly cameras, they can also do super slow motion, and are they like six-figure cameras or like $50,000 cameras?
So the Movi Fly is actually a gimbal, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
I don't know. I'm completely out of my element with cinematography stuff. So
that was the main thing that I was kind of concerned about. Is not because there are people who can fly like the Ronin, like the C200 on like the Ronin S, but with like bare bones minimum setup.
Right.
So you're taking off the monitor, you're taking off like all these external aspects, and you're kind of flying it with like an attached camera. But I kind of wanted something where you can really just handhold it with two hands and really just be stable as much as possible.
All right, sounds cool. You guys have all been in real estate for a while now. I really want to, especially since we can talk a lot about real estate in the Photographer's Underground. What you guys have experience been? We've had Jason, who's pretty new. How long have you been working in real estate?
6 months.
Yeah. And then we've got James.
About 2 years.
Yep.
Yep.
Because you started working with me as an intern, too, when you were still a student in college. Yeah. And my first hire, good decision. And then a second decision, also great. And then, of course, like I said, I've been in the industry for a long time. But what's your experience been in real estate? How is it compared to other industries? Is it great? And trust me, I don't care if you hate it. Just let me know. I'll try to make it more fun for you. But I don't know. What are some of the things you've learned?
Well, one of the things I've learned is it wasn't as daunting as I thought it was. Like the very first time I ever booked a real estate job was when I first started, and someone was selling a home that I knew. Like, hey, like, could you just shoot our house, right? Because if you do weddings and portraits, you shoot everything.
Right. Yep. Isn't that the truth? And then if you don't do weddings, people think, oh, you must suck.
Or you're just not legit.
You just got into real estate because you couldn't do other things. Like, well, okay.
And so I went in shooting with like a 50 millimeter prime, and I think I had rented a wide angle, and I used it in like the worst way possible. Never heard anything back from the house, the agent or the couple. So I was just like, man, this is one of those things you do and you learn from. But like fast forwarding, I actually like it. It's kind of like therapeutic for me. I used to really love like landscape photography, so it kind of like plays in, with that. There are some industry standards that I had to learn, which I could really just apply across the board. So it wasn't just within real estate.
Yeah, I shot other things for a long time. The first shoot I ever did for real estate was when I was like just fresh out of college and I was still in Tennessee, but it was an absolute disaster. I had someone hire me off of Craigslist because I was advertising on Craigslist at the time, and it was just for sale by owner, and it was like a single lady who was absolutely stressed about everything. And like I was charging, like, I don't know, like very little at the time. I think it was like $75. I had no idea how to charge for real estate. Went out there. She treated me like had been doing the job for like years. It was like my first real estate shoot ever. Anyway, I did have like wide angles and stuff, but I didn't know any of the industry standards. I had no clue. It was way before anybody, like any resources were available online or anything like that. And yeah, it went awful. It was fun experience kind of, because I was just like, wow, this lady, first of all, the house wasn't ready and she was stressed. And like when I got there, she was like in a robe and then she like went to change. I'm like, this is so awkward. I'm not sure if I should be doing this. And I thought I would never want to do real estate again after that. But I learned industry standards, started learning some of those things. And then I was like, and then real estate is what taught me industry standards actually matter in every industry. Like, even if you don't realize it, when you're doing automotive or even when you're doing weddings and portraits, like, oh, there's some specific things I really need to pay attention to, not just, making sure the exposure is right. Like,
people expect certain things.
Yeah, like in family photos, props are such a big deal, and posing is such a big deal. And heck, I had done headshots and like couples for years and never thought about posing. And I was getting okay shots, but not great shots. And that's the secret. Yeah. Like, to getting the between being and great is learning those tricks. But anyway. And how about you, James? You've been in for a while now.
Yeah, I like it. It's definitely its own thing. I would say does not have that same like creative aspect as other types of photography have. But if you're looking to be a full-time photographer, there's something to be said about taking photos of things that people are selling,
right,
versus photos that people might just want, like a lot of automotive photography, like a lot of portraits and headshots, things like that. So efficiency is key. I think that's huge, almost more so than the creative side of it. There's obviously a certain degree of quality you have to hold, but outside of that, I think efficiency is way more important. If you can crank out 5 or 7 houses quickly and at a decent level in a day, you're going to make a lot more money than if you have one sort of nice house a day that you spend all your time being as creative as you can. Yep. And so that's definitely way different than most other fields of photography, where the sole goal is to be as good as you can and nothing else.
Yeah, and you can dump as endless amounts of time and
you can energy. Tell people I'm still working, and they appreciate it because that's all they want is the creative side. Whereas this, it sort of similar. It doesn't matter whether it's a $100,000 bottom-end house or a $1 million high-end listing. The photos are going to be up for a couple days, and then the house is going to be sold, and the photos are going to be gone. Yeah. And so, like you taught me early on, you said like your legacy does not live in real estate photos. And so I think that's something I've definitely taken to heart, and I like that a lot. I appreciate that. I think there's a lot of people out there that are struggling to find a full-time income in photography, and that's exactly where I was before I came on with you. And so finding something that is less about just trying to put my twist on it and hopefully someone picks it up and that makes me successful, it's being efficient. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's something I've learned over time, because I think there's certain phases you go through, just like growing up, being a teenager, an adult, and you go through certain phases. Overprotective parents, you're going to be an overprotective parent or something like that. And when you're in photography, you can go through certain phases where you're super paranoid about other people, like stealing your stuff or stealing your style. And then also, you would never do something like outsourcing your editing, because you just think, no, like this is my creation, and nobody can do it better than I can. And that's really more of an immature phase that I think people need to go through. Oftentimes, you can hire an editor not only to save you time, but they can edit a lot better than you do. I don't think that is the case, because I've continued to learn a lot, and a lot of the outsourcing that I do outsource to, you can tell they're good at like one thing. So you outsource them to do that one thing. Like, okay, you guys are very good at interiors. I'm going to send the interiors to you guys. And then exteriors isn't that hard, and it doesn't take that much time. So we're going to either edit in a house or find a cheap editor that just knows how to adjust the sliders type of thing. But, yeah, man, real estate has taught me so much. And I think it's good for anybody who wants to get into real estate because it teaches you so much, not just about it's a great starting industry. Like, you learn how to take care of clients. You learn how to do customer service. You learn how to turn it around. And then you learn a lot of lessons like, oh, you know what? The clients only want this much. So why am I pouring my heart and soul into something that they're not going to pay for or not care about?
Yeah, like if I spend 45 minutes here versus if I spend 2 hours here, I'm going to get paid the same, and the reaction from the clients is going to be the same.
Right.
So, which is very different, like I said, than other industries of photography.
Yep.
But that's something to take away that you can apply to other things. Yeah.
Right. And some people might be like beginning photographers. No, you should do the absolute best possible way you can do it. And that's what I see a lot. But people sometimes never get past that phase. And I see a lot of photographers who are doing like $200, maybe $300 real estate shoots. And I mean, that's okay money for what they're doing, but they're coming in and they're actually doing like a full commercial shoot that you should be paying full day rates for. We're talking like $1,800, $2,500 day rates, and they're coming in to just absolutely blow away this listing. And you can't scale that. You're getting underpaid. You're also probably scared of going after real, true commercial clients. So you're happy and you're staying with real estate. Really, I mean, it's all about finding a good product to sell and then selling that product. And then you apply that to any other industry, like weddings. Like you have a bride who's, probably going to get married 3 or 4 times, and just doesn't care about photos because, the wedding probably doesn't mean much to her either. And I've shot, weddings like that and realized, oh, this bride literally doesn't want to pose and get the family in any family photos. She just hired a photographer to check a box. Like, that doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, don't try to sell her like a lifetime memory that's going to be like $4,500 because she's not going to care. She's going to look for a photographer that's like, okay, you can do the ceremony, you can do the reception for like $500. It's like, no, no, I don't want to do that. It's like, all right. And usually also when you have a client like that who's just trying to find the bare minimum, they're going to have issues. Like, they're going to be the type of person whose their wedding probably looks bad anyway. It's probably a cheap venue, probably a bunch of drunk people. Same thing applies in photography. And then I do short-term vacation rentals on the side. If you have a guest who's like contacting you and trying to do, oh, hey, I was wondering, could you do $400 a night? It's like, no. Because you're going to come and you can bring your dog and you can smoke inside the house and you're going to break stuff and then you're going to leave me a bad review. Like, it just comes all in a package. Yeah. So, I definitely learned that, and I started learning that in real estate. Yeah. And I applied those lessons in lots of different industries. But, so what are some of your favorite shoots you guys have done so far? Describe your favorite shoot in real estate? Like, you go in, you get the notes on the shoot, and you read the notes, and you either know, like, like Matterport video drone, you guys hate, like, what are your favorite types of shoots? You want to
go first?
My favorite is anything I see that says it's vacant. Anything that says the house is going to be all mine.
Yeah. You guys turn up music and stuff? What type of music do you listen to in a vacant house?
Oh, I honestly don't even really
enjoy the silence.
Yeah. I just like not having to work around people or have someone requesting stuff or asking me stuff or
We do need to be more strict about that too. But Jason?
I mean, there were a couple of memorable shoots. Like the first one that you actually went with me with was like a condo or something, a townhouse.
Yeah, on the bottom right.
Yeah, he just kind of just threw me into the wolves, and I was like, all right, let's just go for it.
I remember it was like an 800 square foot house, and it took you 2 hours.
I shot so many photos, and I was like trying to be just everything that I could be. It's like trying to impress you and everything, and I'm just like, Yeah, no. It's like we have to shoot this again.
Yeah, I had to go back and shoot it again. That's true.
But I think after that, it kind of clicked for me. And then we started, getting, more work and more opportunities to, go out and shoot. And like James said, like the ones where it's just like vacant, it's either vacant or just well staged. Because then for me, it's like, oh, this is like really motivating to really, put in some extra effort.
It's always fun. Stagers can be hit or miss. Sometimes, like I've seen, like the gather stuff that you usually see in kitchens, like gather, love, eat kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I saw a gather thing right above a toilet. And I was
no.
it's just like, sometimes they're just throwing stuff up there.
Yeah.
There was one house, you can tell that we are in the South, and there's a certain style that's popular. And there was one house I noted where I was standing in one point in the living room, and rotating in one point, I could see 9 items that said blessed in that exact same font, like pillows and a frame thing and something on the kitchen and a piece of wood, like above the cat. Like there was 9 things I counted standing in one spot that had the fancy written blessed. And I was like, yep.
I always find, I don't try to judge people, but sometimes you can't help it. Usually it's like the people who have blessed all over their house are probably, you can just imagine like probably $15,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
Like, like we're blessed.
All in blessed signs.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, man. I always, when I see too many blessed signs, I'm thinking, man, they must be struggling financially or something. But I try not to pay attention to that. I just do my job. But
yeah, that whole same, the blessed or the family or gather, but on that exact same font is so prevalent.
Yeah, the cursive
so prevalent.
blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my favorite shoots to do, I really enjoy video right now. I still enjoy photo. Every once in a while, I love doing a good lighted, like with flash photo shoot, but those come so rarely, for my business model. But I really like it when a realtor comes and says, hey, I want to do a video, but I want this to be not just your 60-second standard 1-minute like preview. I want like something special. And I'd like to do a lot more of that with agents. So this year coming up in 2022, not to date the podcast, but I'm really going to be pushing. We're redoing all of the packaging for the new year, redoing the descriptions, adding voiceover add-ons and everything else. And I'm hoping more people will bite on some better, more premium real estate media, dude. I just love doing all that. Also, man, I want to get into more color grading accurately, because I'll be honest, lots of people ask, like, oh, man, how do you get this perfect? And they'll want to shoot in, like, RAW or log, and they're going to put, like, 4 rounds of editing through the color, so you need, like, color correct and color grading. They're going to add whatever you want to add. It's just like, man, like, if you're getting paid $200 or $300 for this video, like, why are you doing all that? Put it on a standard profile, fix the white balance or something. Yeah. And send it out there, not because you want to, cut corners, but because, they're not paying for that advanced editing.
And yeah, similar. It's like it's going to be up as long as the house is for sale, and then it's gone, essentially. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I definitely agree with what you said, which I told you apparently at one time, which was like, yeah, this is not my magnum opus. Like, I don't want this to be what I'm remembered for when I die. Like, if I'm remembered for my 3,000 square foot like photo shoots after I die, I'm gonna be pretty sad.
Yeah.
Like, I do love real estate, and it's
exactly. It's like, not to diminish it at all. It's a great moneymaker, especially if you're looking to be like a full-time photographer. Yeah. But yeah, it's not a.
You had talked about doing 5 to 7 shoots a day. Lots of times, people will ask, and I'll see this in forums online on Reddit or Facebook or some other thing, and people are like, yeah, I don't understand how people can make that much money. I think you guys are all lying. And I was like, somebody posting about doing 5 houses a day. And I'm like, 5 houses on a day is not that bad. Like, we can easily do 5 houses. And you're talking about 5 to 7.
Yeah. Like we've definitely shot 5-7 houses a day without factoring in what you guys are out.
Right.
shooting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say if we all wanted to really have a hustle day, I think we could handle 20 amongst the 3 of us, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, generally, we don't do that. I would say during high season, we're averaging between the 3 of us probably like 12 to 15. And that's the whole week. And then I'll be shooting on the weekends too. So we really crank out a lot of stuff here. But doing, like, did I say 15 or 20 a week? I'm 15 or 20 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say during the high season, I remember having weeks where I myself would do like between 25 or 30
Right.
in a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's absolutely what you can build a real estate photography business to. And people aren't recognizing that. And then, for example, if you guys don't want to do real estate, but you really want to do weddings, or you really want to do fashion, or really want to do commercial, but you're not making ends meet, rather than doing a part-time job at Best Buy or as a waitress, or doing, I don't know, something else, you can actually keep doing shooting and also getting paid well for it, and follow your dreams. And then, you know what? If you find that you end up liking real estate after all, you can do real estate full-time, which is what I did. So let's see here. I don't know why some people hate so much inside this issue. Like, oh, you could never do 4 in a day. It's like, yeah, you definitely can. What's this news you had, this news article about this bug photographer you got?
I don't know anything about it. I Googled photographer in Google News right before.
Yeah, we want to have different segments in this podcast. We're going to talk about gear. We're going to talk about real estate or other industries. And we're also wanted to bring up any... but anyway, this is one you sent me. Bug photographer draws fire for doping his tiny subject. So apparently it's controversial because this photographer is smoking his insects in order to get better photos for it.
Yep, some critics within the world of insect photography are up in arms over the morality of drugging bugs. But I read a little bit further, and I seem to agree with the guy. The dude says, my new technique is anesthetizing insects rather than killing them, and seems to work on those creatures.
Yeah, it seems much better than death, right? How's he anesthetizing them, though? Like with smoke, like bees, like a beekeeper? Or is he like smoking them a blunt? Pass them a blunt? I wish the one thing that makes me think about like that, though, is like actually sometimes that would be really good to use on a client, like a headshot client, especially one that's too stiff. Like every time you point the camera towards them, and they're just like, it's like, here, you know what? I got something for you. Just take a whiff of this real quick. What is this? Don't worry about that. It's essential oils.
He uses ethyl acetate to drug bugs, which is considered a safe anesthetic approach for all invertebrates, in which they make a full recovery.
How does he inject them? Like, is it an injection?
He probably holds it near him and they breathe it. It's probably a fume.
Okay. Dude, hopefully, what if he overdoses? Like, an anesthesiologist dies on the table.
I don't know enough about bug science, but I don't know why people would be mad about that versus just killing them. Like, that seems to be the other option for getting macro bug photography. So,
well, I mean, I guess you could just try to get a shot and not do anything to him. That's an option.
Yeah, he said something about it's not really possible. They move too much. Because he was, there's like, consumer macro photography, but his look like
professional, like super professional.
Crazy.
You know what?
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like really close up. So I don't think they can be moving like at all to hold that depth of field.
Do you think that's exactly why people are actually attacking him?
Why?
Because he's so good and so successful.
I mean, maybe.
Dude.
I guess, well, probably not directly because he's successful. I wouldn't say anyone seeing him and being like, damn, this guy's good at bug photography. Screw this guy. It's probably just more of like the bigger you get, the more attention you draw. So the higher the chances are there's someone out there that's not going to be happy with what you do.
Yeah.
That's probably all.
My wife and I were talking the other day about just haters, and because as we're releasing this course, I've just been a real estate photographer for so many years, but the second you release a course, man, people hate you. And I was prepared for this, mentally prepared. I knew everyone was going to trash me and that kind of thing. So I was kind of mentally prepared for it, but still kind of surprised sometimes, mostly on the ads. And I tried to create ads that are, fun and trying to show that, listen, I'm actually legit. I'm not just some fake guy releasing courses, but man, people some of the comments they release on ads are so mean, like,
People love hating on ads just because it's an ad too.
well, it's not just ads too, because then there's other people. There's people who hate on ads, which I get, and there's people who actually devote their time to like private messaging me or like just trolling you. It's just like, golly, like, you guys not have better time. And the sad thing is, I know who some of these people are, and I know they've got like photography businesses of their own, and they're successful. Some of them run entire companies or teams. And I just can't imagine some people who are out there who have gotten to a certain level and hopefully gotten through those phases too that I was talking about. Like, all right, you know what? Like, not outsourcing, that was a dumb idea. I should probably scale up. And then usually when you go through those phases, you learn some things. Like, you know what? Time is valuable, for example. You really learn the value of time when you spend a lot of your time building something up. You're going out and creating services for people. And then in a day, you've got a certain amount of time, and that certain amount of time becomes precious to you. Mm-hmm. Like, I really want to spend that time, and I want to spend that time with family. I want to go take, my wife out to eat or, do homework with my kids or something, right? No, some of these people will hop online and like make a hobby out of just trashing people. Like, I know some of these people. It's just like, geez, like.
And it's always when someone is like pursuing their dreams, like doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You'll always have somebody pop up like, no.
Like, I get it.
Approve.
Like, I get it that sometimes people will come in and be like, hey, what camera should I use? That gets old. I get that. They should learn how to use search feature. They should learn how to use Google. It's a great website, google.com. But people are trying to learn, and sometimes they'll do their first shoot, and they'll submit it somewhere for CC, for constructive criticism. Mm-hmm. And, man, like, people will just absolutely trash them. And if they're not trashing them because the moderators of the group or whatever are actually kind of like cracking down on it, like, hey, guys, let's be respectful of each other, mm-hmm. they'll go as far as they possibly can to piss them off. And they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I get it. I've gone through some phases in trolling. I just don't believe, I have a hard time believing it when professionals who are veterans do it.
We're doing it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, guys.
And you're setting the example, and it's just going to perpetuate and keep going.
Right. I just, like, if I had arrived to where some of these people would be doing, I would much rather be out driving like my Ferrari or something. Yeah. Anyway, that's all my thoughts on that. I had some other topics we wanted to cover here as well. Speaking of outsourcing, you guys are specialists, automotive especially. Your automotive is out of this world. I think you're one of the best photographers in the state, in my opinion. And then you, of course, love lighting, and you do great lighting portraits, but also cinematography. How do you guys feel about outsourcing your images? Not real estate, but if you needed to outsource your automotive, and if you wanted to outsource certain aspects of your editing, whether it be, portraits or cinematography and stuff, like, how'd you feel about that?
So I think that's one of those facets of photography where the creative side does matter too much. Mm-hmm. So much of what people are getting when they come to me is for my specific look and my creative look. And so I've thought about like how I could outsource if I wanted to, but I don't think I could really do anything besides like maybe give the raw photos to someone and say, take out like street signs in the background or something like that. But, and they could, I guess, but after that, like all the color grading, everything that I do to photos after that, when I decide to switch out a background or add in certain elements or foreground elements or whatnot, that's all on me. And that's what people look for. So there's not really a opportunity to outsource, I would say.
I like that point you made, though, about doing some of the grunge work. Like, and that's what we have a lot of. Like, I know perfectly how to edit a great interior.
Yeah, there's just not much.
But I've edited a few thousand already.
Yeah, there's just not as much grunge work as I would say with real estate, yeah.
What about you?
So I didn't even know about outsourcing until, like, maybe my fourth year, like, diving into commercial world.
Yep.
So like, for example, when I did my first commercial shoot, and I was an assistant photographer in Montreal, and we were shooting like this global line for winter wear. And I think it was like a 2-day e-commerce shoot. And then he edited everything and he showed me how to do it. And normally like that's something that you would potentially, outsource to somebody else. He was like, no, man, I think one of the best things you can do is learn to retouch yourself so that you know when to outsource, because there's a time when to do it and there's a time when not to do it. And so he also shot fashion, which is a completely different industry. So sometimes you work in tandem with like a retoucher or what would you call it? I forget the term, but you're working with a lot of people on a particular shoot. And so like if I'm shooting someone or I'm shooting a model, then potentially like I'm getting hired to shoot it, but then there's going to be a retoucher after it. And so like that could be for color grading, that could just be for hair, for clothes. Sometimes you would shoot a product like a jacket and they want you to swap colors just because you don't have enough time to shoot that particular product and go through all the SKUs and the different, color aspects of it.
Man, I really appreciate your experience and expertise in that level of world, because I started out with, when I started to learn photography, actually one of the best learning experiences I had was learning under a commercial photographer who dealt with exactly what you're talking about. And that was what I think made me learn so quickly and get started, is in that environment. And man, it's really good to be reminded about how particular some things are, especially when you can get lazy a little bit with real estate. Yeah. But you'll have some clients that keep you on your toes. Yeah, dude. It makes me also immediately want to do that kind of stuff. Like, man, give me a nice like clothes line or like a brand new automobile is coming out next year, and you guys need like your preview shot, like your spy photos. And I'm not talking about like grunge spy photos. I'm talking like this will be the official like release photo. And they're zooming in at like 800%. Like, we got to change this, and we don't like the small reflection. It's like there's no reflection of anything, but we don't like the way the light is bending. So just change the bending on the light. Like, it's like, woo, okay, we're really thinking about stuff. And you got to understand why they do that too, because they're reproducing that image like millions of times. And it's,
and sometimes in different sizes.
I know people that do it.
You know some pretty impressive. I mean, I'm not sure if you know them. You know some of them personally, but you also follow them, of course.
Yeah.
But people who do stuff for like these super advanced shops, Lando Rover, and
Overfinch, stuff like that. But they spend 3 days shooting and 2 weeks editing for an end result of 5 photos.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just crazy, flawless commercial looking. Crazy.
We're starting to get into that though. No, since we're having these ads for the real estate photography masterclass, we put a lot of extra effort in there. We did a pretty good ad for our launch ad, with the car exploding and everything. There's some things we could have done better. So I think we're going to plan those out a little bit better. And because when you think about how long it's going to run, and people are going to be making a decision to either check out the course or not based off of that 30 seconds or 1 minute or whatever, like it matters. And honestly, that's kind of like the highest form of photography and video, when you get to a point. And you don't have to do that to sell a course, even if you're just promoting your own self, if you're a photographer, or promoting your own company for whatever it is. Like thinking of some creative solutions, creating creative ideas to really make you stand out. And I'm actually excited about some of the skits or some of the things we got planned for just advertising our real estate business. So we've been talking about how we can have examples of bad real estate photographers and then fix it in like a minute. So it's going to be fun. I think we need to get in that. We're doing so much here. And we're small but mighty. So I'm really happy you guys are with me, because I never could have done this by myself. That's why I knew that I needed to scale too. But you guys have anything else you guys like to say? We've got 15 minutes left. Technically, I would like to keep this podcast around an hour. But
Nothing else I can think of off the top of my head.
Any questions or any feedback you guys like to hear from the audience on, like, in fact, this is a great time to talk, guys. Wherever you guys are watching this, whether it's on podcast host or YouTube, we're going to be posting this on our YouTube channel. We're going to be breaking it into small clips based off different things we talk about. But feel free to leave down in the comments, because I'm going to be turning on all my notifications specifically for this stuff. Excuse me, and making sure that I answer you guys' questions, reply to you guys, because this is not something that I'm starting now and going to do casually. This is going to be very official. We're going to be releasing this at least once a week, very regularly, and we're going to have some guests on, hopefully some local guests, and maybe if we can get people, if this gets enough audience, gets enough ears, we can get people to come and appear on the podcast that are pretty big players in the industry. And then, of course, we can always try to figure out how we can perhaps integrate something who's streaming in. We do have some extra plugs here where we can connect things, and then we can just add their video and post. But heck, maybe we could even get you guys calling in and ask them some questions. That'd be pretty sweet. You guys have any ideas? That if you go ahead and share some ideas, and if you guys have like the sound of the idea, feel free to comment down below.
Yeah, I like the ability of just calling in and doing it real time.
People.
Because we do have a connection here for a cell phone, so I'm not sure.
And the Bluetooth.
Right, and the Bluetooth too. So I'm not sure how we would connect that. We'd have to check the technicalities of it.
There's just a 3.5 mil jack for the phone, so I guess you just plug that in and get calls from people.
Man, wouldn't it be nice if we had a 3.5 jack still on our iPhones? Of course,
adapter.
I've got a converter. Yeah, that's no problem. Also, we've got these cool sound effects here. Laugh track, cheering.
Can you still hear?
These are great. Little horror movie crickets. That'll be mostly for me when I make a joke and nobody laughs. And if we have someone cool on, I guess we need the that sound. We don't have anything like that though. So we'll add some special. I think you can custom record those as well.
Okay. Sure,
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can do that. All right, I guess that'll be it. If you guys have any questions, make sure to ask us down below. I will make sure that I answer these personally, and really excited about getting back into the Photographer's Underground here. I'm doing so many things. Tried real estate media, real estate photography masterclass, and then this podcast. But I'm just learning to help as many people as possible. Also, kind of correct the record. There's a lot of people out there who spread a lot of bad information, tell people the best way to get clients. It's not the best way to get clients. And it really hurts the industry as a whole. And since I've been in the industry for a long time now, I do deem it as a personal responsibility, if you will, to put out some good content and bust some myths. And maybe that's another great thing that we can go over. Maybe a section where I rant about something that people really shouldn't be doing, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be shooting for free, or you shouldn't be going out and starting a business if you don't have a service contract, or, man, you guys really do need insurance, and, taxes are real, and if you think you can get away with that, you got another thing coming, so you should make sure you're legit in paying your taxes so you don't get charged later for interest and late fees and damages and everything else on top of the tax you didn't pay. Yeah. So, I think we'll have a lot of good topics here. Make sure to subscribe if you guys want. Once again, comment down below. Love to interact with you guys. And my thing is always to say, always remember to learn, apply, and succeed. Have a great time, everybody.